It's an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. From Dominaria Remastered being an absolute disaster, all the way to Phyrexia All Will Be One teasers, we have a lot to discuss today.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another crazy installment of Mega Magic News. We've got the Dominaria Remastered disaster to talk about, which is absolutely crazy. But before we do that, there's a couple other pieces of news that I'd like to get out of the way first, and then we'll wrap it all up with the Phyrexian teaser action, because there's some cool stuff in there too. So, first thing I want to discuss is actually, you may or may not have heard that with March of the Machines upcoming, there's going to be a monumental change to Magic the Gathering. But it's been left kind of cryptic. That has led to a whole bunch of speculation. And one of the things that people have been speculating is that they're going to make Universe Beyond cards pretty much canon in Magic the Gathering. So the idea being that the Realm Breaker tree that the Phyrexians are using to link up to all of these different planes will mean that it also reaches out into other worlds. Now that has been completely dispelled. Mark Rosewater's come out and said that is absolutely not what's going on. I'm suspecting that this big monumental change they're going to make isn't really going to seem like that big of a difference. Maybe it means that characters from one world can show up on other worlds. Do you know what I mean? Like there'll be a highway between all the different planes. So if you have a character from this world who's not a planeswalker, you want to see him on this world, they're going to have the ability to do that. That is most likely what's going to happen. The next thing I want to talk about is the Smite and Magic crossover. So if you didn't know about that, they're bringing Nicol Bolas and the Gatewatch into the Smite computer game. I didn't know what Smite was before hearing about this. Essentially, it's a League of Legends style battler game, right? So if you're into Smite, that might be fun for you. Now, I want to move on into the Dominaria Remastered issues now that we've got that out of the way. So, there are a bunch of Magic players and even store owners who are riled up about this situation, and they have every right to be. Wizards has absolutely botched this set, and it is another sign that not just of their greed, but of their disdain for us as customers. So, I experienced some of these issues personally myself being at the draft this weekend. Now, before we dive into the problems, I want to cover what's not a problem, because I know people will bring this up and say, hey, Dominaria Remastered is fine. It's fine from a draft perspective. In fact, drafting it can be a lot of fun. There's a bunch of crazy, wonky, swingy insanity. Playing Chain Lightnings along with crazy grape shots and all this other silliness gets out of hand. So it is fun. But what's not fun is feeling like Wizards is spitting in our mouths. And that's exactly what's going on. There are massive card quality issues with this set. Completely unacceptable ones, to the point where I had 3 packs in my draft, and guess what? All 3 packs had problems. So this is something that I experienced myself, and a whole bunch of people are posting on about Reddit right now. So what's going down? Well, first of all is the straight up poor card quality. So for me, I had 2 different packs where cards actually had extra crap attached up on the corner of it. Little chunks of paper, like the sheet cutters just aren't doing their job. But the cutting issues actually go way deeper than that. There's a post on Reddit right now talking about, hey, can somebody explain to me, are these legitimate cards? Why are my cards different sizes? They took cards from different packs of Dominaria Remastered, put them together, and they're all at different heights. Because if you go to different printers, they print them to different sizes. Wizards of the Coast isn't even bothering anymore to make sure that you're getting a standardized sized Magic card. So you'll have your rares being different sizes than your commons and uncommons. And it's just, it's absolutely insane, because we're dealing with a set where it's pretty much free money for Wizards. We shouldn't have this situation. 2 of my packs had damaged cards. The third pack had an issue where 3 of the rares showed up twice. So, not rares, that sounds way better. Sorry, I'm getting it twisted here. Commons, okay? Common cards. There were 3 common cards in my pack that showed up twice, so I didn't get enough sleep. So my brain's a little scattered. But regardless, imagine that. You get 3 commons, and then behind them are the exact same 3 commons in a row. And it's like, okay, what are you doing here? How do you mess up the collation this bad? And it goes further than that. We have the Phyrexia all will be 1 rares that were inserted into Dominaria Remastered packs by accident, to the point where they actually had to put out a PR statement about that. If you didn't know, the problem is widespread enough that on Friday they put out a little article going, hey, you might get Phyrexian cards in your pack, and if somehow getting some for the future causes problems for you, then contact our customer service. They in no way mention the fact that these Phyrexia all will be 1 cards literally replace your retro cards. So you don't get retro cards if you get the Phyrexia all will be 1s. So you can't get any of the rare retros, you can't get any of that stuff, right? It's absolutely insane to me the way that they have botched this. I was talking to one LGS owner today, and he said to me, I couldn't believe it, dude. What happened? Time Spiral Remastered was better than this. How do they turn around and go, by the way, you only get 1 retro card per pack. So if you get a retro rare, instead of your retro slot having anything else, it'll just have a regular common. So instead of going, you can get a retro rare and a regular retro, they just went, no, you only get 1 retro card per pack because they're super greedy. And apparently this new style of collation is what messed up and let the Phyrexia all be 1 cards get into there. So you have to understand, this is additionally frustrating because sets like this are, first of all, overpriced, right? I don't know what the prices are in your area, but where I am, Dominaria Remastered is pretty much twice the cost of a regular booster pack. So you're paying double the price, and Wizards' cost to produce this set are phenomenally low. You have the same printing costs that go across any set, but the other production costs, card design, oh, look at that. Every card's already been designed. We don't have to spend any money on that. Artwork, 90% of the set's going to be reprinted artwork. So the sets cost almost no work. I'm guessing the most money Wizards spends on this is having accountants analyze the secondary market and economists and figure out what's the exact amount of reprint value we can put in the set where we'll get them to buy it but not give away too much, because I feel like they're fully focused on the secondary market. So you're going to put out a product that's double the price. You're not going to worry about printing it to any reasonable standard of quality and just try and rake in all of the cash. And it's going to get worse, friends. If you haven't been paying attention to the D&D side of things, Wizards of the Coast just turned the entire D&D community into pitchfork-waving maniacs because Wizards of the Coast is out of their mind. They turned to the biggest community of rules lawyers on the world and went, hey, we're going to try and pull some rule shenanigan with you. We're going to try and change our open gaming license. They had this license set up where you could use the D&D like gaming system, all of that, for free, and it helped spread Wizards' name, everything like that. It was really good for the game, right? And then Wizards came along and said, you know what? We want you to pay now. We want you to pay for this, and on top of that, we're going to go, hey, these groups over here, whatever, you're making all this money, we want like 25% of your profits. They just came out and said, on top of the profits, also, we can use your work for free and not pay you. And the community lost its mind, and they basically ran Wizards down by the river, where Wizards went, oh no, okay, look, we're really sorry. Here's the thing, guys. The whole plan behind the open gaming license was we really care about inclusivity, and we just wanted to stop people who were making bad content. That's what they tried to say when they got called out on this, and they went, you may think that you won and we lost, but no, you guys won and we won, and we're entirely scrapping this. So they gave up on that. Now, here's where it gets scary, friends. On the last earnings call, or whatever it was, fireside chat. That's right, the fireside chat. What a debacle that was. You got the CEO of Hasbro going, let me tell you about how I like to drink in my hot tub and how we're going to milk D&D. So That's the name of the game. All this talk about how D&D is under-monetized, right? And so this is one of their greedy arms coming in to get the money. But the D&D community doesn't work like the Magic community, because the Magic community goes like this. I hate what you're doing, Wizards. I hate what you're doing. Here, have a bunch of money, bro. I'm going to keep buying your stuff. Have a bunch of money. I hate what you're doing. Have some more money. I hate it. Have some more money. The D&D community went like this. Oh, sorry, you're doing what now? No, I'm taking my money. And I'm telling all my friends, guess what? They're taking their money too. So all of a sudden, there's this massive wave of cancellations. People are canceling their D&D. Did you know people paid yearly to Wizards for D&D memberships? Well, people start canceling them en masse. And that's when Wizards went, we're so sorry. So the D&D people know how to just lay it into Wizards. But the Magic players, what are you going to do? They don't listen to us because the money keeps flowing. So why is this a problem? Well, guess what, friends? Hasbro is a croaking old corpse. It gets like most of it. It gets a third of its money comes straight from Wizards of the Coast. All of its other toy, like little distribution networks and whatever, have crumpled. You know, Toys R Us is pretty much done for in toy shops. Like, you think a kid's gonna play with a little plastic dinosaur and they can beep boop on their tablet? Those days are over. So Hasbro is just folding under the weight, right? Their stock price has cut in half and they have to find ways to bring in money. We've seen what they've been doing with Magic and they went, okay, now let's do it with D&D. But D&D said, nuh-uh, son, we're not letting that happen. Now, Papa Hasbro is not going to be like, oh, you know what? That's fine. The D&D guys don't want to pay up? Well, then I guess you just don't have to supply us any more money. No. Hasbro works like the mob. They go to Wizards of the Coast and say, heads are going to roll unless that cash flows upwards. Now, if Wizards of the Coast can't manage Dungeons and Dragons, what's the other giant property that Wizards of the Coast does? What is that? Oh, that's right, Magic the Gathering, the thing I talk about. That's where they have to try and make up for the shortfall from. If they can't extract the money from D&D, and Hasbro expects a 50% increase in profits over 3 years, guess what, friends? That's straight up coming from Magic the Gathering. So, Wizards of the Coast is probably, at this moment right now, the higher-ups figuring out how they can extract even more money from us while giving us less. And that involves reducing card quality, right? It's not like they can't improve card quality. It's not like it's an impossibility and it's going, our hands are tied. They just don't, because they have no financial incentive to. If you can sell somebody a piece of garbage that cost you 50 cents to make, or like something that cost you $8 to make and took a lot more work, and you make the same not the same profit, you sell it for the same price and people will buy it regardless, why are you going to spend your time working on something that is actually worth it? A reprint set makes more money for Magic. It costs them way less to make, and they can inflate the price tag because people will justify it by going, look at the secondary market prices. I can get expensive Magic cards, and the whole gambling aspect of it. But the problem is, that's a very short-term situation, right? That does not lead to long-term health for the game. You can only do that so many times, but Wizards seems like they want to do it multiple times a year now, right? We already saw what happened when they went the second D&D set, let's just make it Commander Legends. It's not actually a Commander Legends set, but let's just call it that, and we'll double the price. And that was an absolute flop. So things are about to get a lot uglier for Magic because they already had the greed train rolling, but now they've got to slap more cabooses onto it, because a 6 caboose train, because D&D ain't pulling the cash weight, because those players said, no, son, no. Now, let's move on to talking about the not leaks, there's been so many leaks, the teasers that were made by Mark Rosewater. Normally, when there's a teaser set, I do the entire thing in a video and we go through it point by point. But because of Wizards of the Coast messing up with Dominaria Remastered and all the Phyrexia All Will Be One cards making it into those booster packs, we've already seen most of the rares from the set. And the teasers usually, not always, but usually are giving us stuff that is from rares. So a lot of the teasers, we already know. You know what I mean? If I say, oh, hey, look, if you have less than 9 poison counters, you go up to having 9 poison counters, well, we're going to know that's Vraska because we've seen her spoiled as well, right? So you have all the rare spoiled, almost all, well, not almost all. Most of the mythics still remain unspoiled. So I've got a couple of spoilers here for, not spoilers, teasers, same difference, right? For cards that we haven't seen yet. One is a Phyrexianized Staff of Domination. And I want to take a moment to let you guys know, Phyrexianized is a proper term, okay? That's literally how it's described in the teaser list. Sometimes when I say Phyrexianized, people are like, that's not, you gotta say completed or whatever else. There are multiple variations. Phyrexianized is fine. So, Staff of Domination's an awesome card. Seeing a Phyrexia version, I imagine it probably adds oil counters onto things. Maybe like adds toxic to a creature, or you can give your opponent a poison counter, just boom, smack them with the staff, get poisoned. And then the other exciting item on the list is there's another sword of blank and blank. You know, like the swords of fire and ice, where it's like half fire, half ice, and then you get an ability based on fire and ice. So for the fire and ice sword, it's like draw a card, do 2 damage to any target. By the way, this creature has +2/+2, pro red, pro blue, right? What kind of vibe are we going to get? Because we've gotten all the things are falling apart. Well, it's good that we're done here, because that was my list of news that just fell on the floor. So, thanks for coming by, my friends. That is my sign to go. Big shout out to all of my patrons. And actually, while I have you here for a moment, just so you know, the Phyrexia All Will Be One story has started. I have 6 lore videos already out, so I will link them up on the screen if you want to know what's going on with the story. Thanks for coming by. See you next time.